One of the biggest fears that we deal with here, especially with our senior clientele, is falling and the fear of falling. It's something that we actually do all our lives, but we never become so hyper-focused on it as when we seem to lose some of our abilities. It's probably one of the biggest fears that we deal with. But what if we had a way of belaying and actually completely eliminating that fear? Well, today we have with us our contract intern, Jonathan Stewart, who has an answer to falling with the fall class that we're offering here at Personal Edge Fitness, and we're talking about it today on the Personal Edge Fitness Podcast. Good day and welcome to the Personal Edge Fitness Podcast. I'm your host, Garrett Williamson, president of Personal Edge Fitness. Have with me today our contract intern, Jonathan. Jonathan, thank you so much for joining us today for this.
Yeah, of course.
This is actually your baby, so I'm looking forward to talking to you about it. So, hey, listen, before we get going, I want to tell you how to get in touch with us if you have any questions about this show or any others, or if you have any questions about dispelling the myths of health, fitness, and wellness, please reach out to us at area code 251-278-3343. That's 251-278-EDGE. You can also reach me at Garrett, Garrett, at personaledgefitness.com. Personaledgefitness.com, of course, is our website. You can reach us there. Personal Edge Fitness, our Facebook page, or hit me up on X at Team PE if you so desire. So we're falling into falling. How about that? This is good. Actually, we're doing this in the fall, so it's a good time to talk about
Couldn't have
this.
planned it better.
That's true. That's true. Perfect. Tell us what we got going on. This was your brainchild.
Yeah.
And it actually came from some experience you had in an internship that you did, and now you're bringing it here. Tell us about it.
Yeah, so the fall class that I pitched to you guys
Right.
came from a session that I did in the PT setting.
Sure.
Working, like you said, in an internship. And I'll give a shout out, I guess, to Dr. Logan Blake.
Yeah.
Who was the guy who kind of introduced me to it, and we dove down that rabbit hole of falling and what it looked like for not only the older population, but for everybody.
Right,
and
exactly.
And what that showed us. But the fall class here, working with a lot of our clients, showed me that it could be so beneficial for anybody that I've worked with at Personal Edge.
You know, you bring up an interesting point, too. You're talking about any of the clients we have here. I mean, our median age is 39. 35% of our clientele is over the age of 65. Youngest client, 7 right now. We've had them as young as 3. And it's something we were talking about before the show, and that is that I've noticed over the years in my addiction of studying aging, how focused we get on falling past a certain number on the calendar.
Yes.
But you and I both know. I mean, you're an athlete yourself, and you know, studying kinesiology and what have you. You know, everybody falls.
Yes.
And it's interesting to me how we become very hyper focused on that. And I wanted to point out before we went further why we become so hyper focused past a certain time on the calendar about that. And that is that falls up until that point are numerous. Honestly, we were talking. When do you really fall the most? You fall the most as a toddler, and actually that's when mom and dad break out the camera. It's cute, you know. It's not that big a deal. It becomes a big deal because at a time in our life when we've let ourselves or had ourselves because of fitness, nutrition, lifestyle, or mindset actually deteriorate a bit, and it becomes scary. Because that's when we have potential for breaking bones because we've had, different muscles atrophy. So the protection isn't there. The ability to make a quick move to catch ourselves isn't there. And so it becomes scary. Also, at that point in time, may not have the strength to get back up. And I think that's what your fall class is really addressing.
It really is. The 3 things I wanted to focus on during the fall class was obviously falling. I wanted to focus on reaction time with a lot of the people who come and the clients who come to the fall class who are interested in it.
Sure.
And then how to properly get off the floor easier for them so that they have that peace of mind when it comes to all 3 facets of what I wanted the class to be. Yeah,
and I love the fact that you're talking about that when you first pitched this is actually Gary told me about it because I think you talked to him about it originally. And what I love the fact that, you know, of course we're talking about, most people are thinking about how do you get up after a fall. But you were talking about, okay, wait a second, what can we do to prevent the fall?
Yes.
You know, and that's what you're talking about. Dive into that a little bit. You were talking about reaction time and a couple of things like that. I don't want to put words in your mouth.
Yeah, of course.
But dive into that a little deeper if you wouldn't mind.
Yeah, so when it comes to falling in general, it is 100% a reaction. It's never something that while you're falling, you can take the time to think about because it happens in an instant.
Exactly.
So muscle memory is what it comes down to.
Right.
And reaction time of preventing falling in training looks a little bit different than what it would look like in real time.
Right.
But as I said, giving them that peace of mind and kind of making it a second nature is what I want to focus on.
Right. Yeah. And you're actually, I haven't seen the class yet, and we've talked about it, but you're actually putting people in that scenario, in that basically having them go through the mental gymnastics, pardon the pun, of actually falling.
Yes. Yeah, it eventually it is a progression style class.
Right.
So starting them off very simple with the basics, moving into those real life scenarios. So one of the questions that one of them asked me was, what if I have something in my hand? What if I'm carrying my purse? And I told them, you throw that purse. You drop it. So eventually I want to put something in their hands and have them on, a mat table or a mat and falling, and have them have to drop that item. Right. And then go into their fall.
Exactly. So, and again, that's what you're talking about. That's part of the muscle memory.
Yes.
First and foremost, whatever's in your hands, outside of a child.
Yes, that actually came up in conversation.
Right, I'm sure. But anything else, like groceries, even if it's glass, it doesn't matter. Get it out of your hands.
Yeah, not more valuable than you.
Right. That's true. Exactly. So, I think that's brilliant. And we start with actually the fall itself. So, how does that progress? How do you progress after that?
So it progresses through comfort, really. So they can start as high or as low as they want to. I had some starting on higher tables and some starting on lower tables, just what they felt they could handle at the time. Right. Making sure that everybody's falling correctly and we're not teaching bad habits through it. It progresses into lower and lower. Onto tables, onto mats from the floor, and then to a point standing onto a mat or standing onto a table. Right. And then eventually we'll go through the forward progression. We'll go through a backward progression, possibly a sideward progression. Right. And then, as I said, reaction time, getting up off the floor, just trying to hit all facets in a timely manner so that it's not us falling for 8 weeks and doing the same exact thing, having them interested in the class and it being a fun thing for everybody to come and experience.
I like the way you're attacking it from every direction too, because it's not going to be you're not just going to fall forward. No. And I feel one of the biggest concerns that a lot of people have and fears that are it's sideways, and because we've talked about this in several podcasts about the fact that there's so much training is dedicated to forward and backward. Excuse me, I always do that with my fingers when I do it, but even for years all the way up till 2014, all cardio equipment was forward and backwards. Treadmill, elliptical, bikes, all forward and backwards. Even like the basic elliptical until the Octane Fitness came out with the lateral elliptical, training that sideways motion. So you inherently, a lot of our senior clients terrified of almost moving sideways, careful to turn. And so you're actually putting them in those situations where they're having to step out sideways. And, of course, falling backwards also. So taking through all planes of movement, I guess you'd say. So, yes. What other questions have you run into? You've run a few classes so far, but what other questions have you seen, or what have you noticed in some of our clientele about this? Expand on that, please.
I noticed that falling is almost just, even when it's in that controlled environment, is always going to be a scary thing for a lot of people. Of course. They're not as comfortable when so we can demonstrate as many times as we want, but some of them have a mental block when it comes to falling. Sure. And that's why having me or whoever the trainer is in there with the knowledge that we have, being able to reassure them and show them time and time again that, hey, this is what we need to be doing, and building that muscle memory. Right. Building that muscle memory in it and making it a comfortable thing for them to just go and do on a couch at their house. Right. And be able to, take it home with them almost as homework rather than only coming in twice a month with us.
I've actually done a podcast on muscle memory before, and I'm not sure that everybody fully understands what muscle memory is. But you can think of real world situations outside of falling that are muscle memory. I'm kind of putting you on the spot here.
Yeah, of course.
But give us the listeners an idea of what is something that people normally do daily that's muscle memory. I mean, you have this in your daily life.
Yeah, of course. Well, go back to when you were a toddler. Could you walk immediately?
No.
No, but you learned how to, and you just figured it out.
Right.
And you don't have to think about walking when you walk.
Well, I've got blonde hair, so yeah, I do, but nobody else does, But you're right. You're right.
Yeah,
right, exactly.
So walking is as simple as it gets when it comes to muscle memory. You just do it without even thinking about it. It's one foot in front of the other. It's not the right and now left and right and now left. in most scenarios.
Sure.
But
Sure.
that's, I mean, as simple as we can get, walking is where I would say muscle memory was, for me, simplified.
Right. And I think that's easy enough for anybody to understand. But so we're trying to make a fall or your reaction to a fall like muscle memory.
Yes.
So I mean, just it's natural. You've been through that, and I would guess that one class, probably not going to give you some good ideas, but that's not. It's going to take repetition. Mm-hmm. So I would guess that you use exercises in the class to address just doing a lot of repetitive stuff. I would guess. Yeah.
The fall class itself is a ton of repetition, so it's very different from what we do in our one-on-one sessions, where it's 3 sets of something. It's timed falling, so timing and doing this and fixing form per se. So similar to working out 100%.
Right.
But it's more so a getting comfortable in the position and doing it over and over and over again, so that it becomes second nature.
Even if we let's say we have a rock star that comes in, never misses a class. I can actually name a few people that probably will be in that category. They never miss a class, and they've got it. They've started to develop muscle memory. Still, some point in time, you're going to hit the ground. Mm-hmm. So, what do we do from there?
From the ground?
Yeah.
Where
are you working with people as far as like getting up after a fall?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So after a fall, we're going to go through, like I said, the full progression of hitting the ground, figuring out how to position yourself on the ground to get back up correctly, and recover from that fall.
Okay. So I mean, even without having something to put your hands on,
just the wide open space.
Right. Which I figured if you've got that tackled, then if you have a door handle, close by you or something like that,
it makes it 10 times easier.
Doesn't it, though? Yeah. So if we can, it's sort of like swinging 2 bats on the on-deck circle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you can get up in space, it's like an open field tackle. If you can do it there, then you should be able to with any other kind of assistance.
Oh, yeah.
So what am I leaving out? What am I leaving out about this? This is a very valuable class.
As far as I can tell, we've hit mostly all of the points.
Are you doing this by yourself? Are you using some of the other staff members when you do this? Or
we would like to have other staff members in there because having more people in there to assist and have the clients feel as comfortable as possible.
Sure, exactly.
Just me running that class would be completely fine.
Right.
But I loved having, me and Josh were in there, and I asked Josh. I said, Josh, you ever fallen before? and he said, not in a controlled environment like this. So I made Josh fall onto a table and show them how he responded to cues that we were giving and everything like that. And I mean, Josh did a fantastic job. He's a pro faller. So.
Yeah, exactly. Among he has other talents, I promise you. But yeah, he's probably pretty decent at falling. So, and I would guess that even our interns could help you. It's just having more bodies in there to guide people through this.
Yeah. So Corey actually, who for people who don't know him, Corey was actually a Marine, and they were taught falling for the Marines.
Wow.
So he was very valuable to have in there. It was funny because he was taught how to fall onto gravel.
Oh, wow.
And we said eventually, we'll get them there. But for right now, we'll stick to the mat tables.
Yeah, exactly. So that's a good idea. So, and actually, that's a good foreshadow because we have he's going to be on doing a podcast with me.
Oh, amazing.
Pretty soon. We always do have our interns come on and do podcasts with us and talking about his experience here and what have you. So I'm glad you brought that up because I will ask him about that. Yes. I think that's fantastic. So, well, look, how often are we going to have this? What's the schedule? How can people get involved? And is it just for clients?
No, not just for clients. I recommend anybody who's interested and sees it on our social medias that come and give it a shot. I mean, anybody can fall. Yeah. Absolutely anybody can fall. Timing-wise, I was thinking probably 2 times a month. It's still something that the scheduling has got to be worked out between Gary and Erica, the fantastic schedulers that we have here.
Yeah, exactly.
But 2 times a month I think is just fantastic. It's going to give them plenty of repetition on top of the work that they're doing in here with us.
Right.
Just to make sure that it's implanted into the brains of everybody who comes in that fall class that this is something that you guys can do.
And, of course, the more interest that we have with it, the more we will be able to offer this because I think that I know this is your brainchild, this is your baby, but our entire staff is capable of course, teaching this class. So the more interest we have, the more availability we make for this class. But if you're interested, whether you work out with us or not, this is really a community thing that we want to do and want to provide. I mean, this is something, I'm going to speak for you on this one.
Of course.
But love to hang your hat on the fact that you've taught X number of mobilians, or people in Baldwin County and our Daphne location, how to fall. and how to protect themselves. That one, you'd sleep well at night on that one. So, but look, if you have any questions about this, you're obviously you can reach out to the show. You can reach out to our facility at 251-341-0927. Speak to Erica, and she can talk to you about putting you on a list to get you involved in the class. But if you have any questions, particularly about this subject, feel free to reach out to Jonathan. Email is jonathan@personalagefitness.com.
Yes.
Yeah, jonathan@personalagefitness.com. You can reach out to him. Be more than glad to answer your questions about that. Love to talk to you about it. I mean, this is his baby, and we so appreciate you bringing this and adding this to a valuable piece to Personal Edge and being part of our program.
Oh, yeah. I'm really glad we can get it started. It's something that, after I pitched it to you guys, I got super passionate about and started doing more research than I already had. Just it all fell in line for me. So I was ecstatic. Perfect.
Well, I'm sure we're just going to develop it even further from there.
Yes.
So definitely. So thank you for being on the show. I appreciate you talking to us about it. Listen, like I said, reach out to us. Contact the show, 251-278-3343. Reach out to me, Garrett, at personalagefitness.com. Our website, Facebook page, however you want to get in touch with us. If you have any more questions about this or dispelling the myths of health, fitness, and wellness, learning to fall. Hey, just one more way we help you reach your level of wellness. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time.